brief look at these ominous shortcuts in ArchiCAD, to my knowledge, the shortcuts really differ depending on what country that you have the license from. That is a little bit unfortunate, and that makes these kind of tutorials a bit difficult to handle. You can customize all these shortcuts, and I'll briefly show you how to do that and how to access these kind of the information around the shortcuts as well. At least whenever you have anything selected, let's assume you want to move it around or rotate it, within these menus on the right hand side of the tabs, you can see the shortcuts that are currently assigned to these actions. So at least you have a little bit of an indication of what is possible, and luckily the more like general or global shortcuts that we know, like Command or Control C and Command Control V for copying and pasting or cutting, they are the same within all of ArchiCAD and Graphisoft in general as well. Whenever you find yourself in any window or anything and you want to go back or deselect anything, you can always press Escape and you will go back to the default kind of view. You can access the shortcut menu up here in ArchiCAD in Work Environment, and here we can just see another one of these features as well, where we can see the shortcuts in the tabs in the within those menu windows as well. So that's really helpful. But for now, we're going to have a look at Work Environment. Just open that window, and here you have all these more software settings, and you can customize your interface, the look of the windows, lots and lots of things. You can just click through here and have a look at what's possible and what's available. Probably in general you don't need them in the beginning, but as you become a bit more advanced, you might have a few things that are bothering you or that you want to improve. So you can have a look at these sort of things. What is really nice about these as well, when you go all the way up to the top, the work environment profiles, you can see we have the standard profile 23 that is currently assigned. You can click on new profile and create a new one and give it a name that's specific for you, and you can export and import these kind of profiles as well. So if you are customizing anything, make sure that you save it as your very personal profile on here. And if you're ever going to change to another workstation, let's assume you've had a setup on your laptop and you're entering the workplace and you have a different computer, you can actually export these profiles and import them on the other location as well. So you don't have to relearn all the shortcuts or all these sort of things that you have assigned here. Looking at the shortcuts, further down on that list we have the a sub-menu called Shortcut Schemes. Again, you would have the same import-export options for that profile. If you're only going to change something in here, you don't have to change the entire profiles. And then further down, keyboard shortcuts. And that's where all the magic is happening. So in that small window here, we have an overview of all the different menus and actions and features that we have within ArchiCAD. Let's assume, let's open up the edit menu. These are like more the general commands going into move, and here you have all these actions where you can move or rotate or mirror and elements that you have drawn within your canvas. Now here we have the command drag, and what we can see on the right hand side, that currently the shortcut that is selected for that specific command is Command plus D, or if you're working in a Windows environment, it'll be Control plus D. Again, that shortcut might be different to your specific software that you're using, but nonetheless, here you can actually retrieve that information as well. On the top here, you can change that shortcut to whatever you want. Let's assume I want Command T for whatever reason. And luckily, the system also tells me that that specific shortcut is already assigned to a different command, which is the tool settings. You have now the option to assign that anyways, to change that, and that would mean that the tool settings will be detached from that shortcut. So you'd have to access it in a different way. But yeah, really, really helpful having that knowledge so that you know what kind of implications that your actions have. You can search and look for something else. Let's assume I want the letter V as a to assign, and luckily currently that one is not assigned to any command. So if I'm happy with that, I can just click on assign, and now it is appearing down here on that text. And of course it doesn't really make sense having two shortcuts for the same command, so I can actually detach the selected one, the one that I don't want anymore. So there we go. Now you can just press OK, and you can also see, if you go back to that menu, the previous, or like the main menu of the shortcuts, it has now created a new tab calling it custom. That's contains all the changes that I've made. I can now click on store as, and I can call it my interface or whatever you want to call it. That's perfectly fine, and you click on store and it'll rename it. So if you're going to make any more changes, it will create another custom window. I can just briefly show you that one. Let's assume that one, assign anyway. Not that I'm particularly happy with that, but that's fine. I don't have to save it. And again, you can see it created that custom tab again. I can click on store as, and I assume it should be able to override. Let's just have a look if it does that. My interface store. Yes, of course. For some reason it doesn't overwrite it, but doesn't matter. You can just rename that one, delete that one. That works as well. That's a kind of workaround here. For some reason, most of the menus actually allow you to overwrite existing things. And just in case, if you've messed up, I don't know, for some reason you're unhappy with the choices you've made, your standard shortcuts are still here. You can select them, click on apply scheme, and then just asks you again, yes, apply. Now you are back into the standard environment. So make sure that you keep that one, don't delete it. Just makes life a bit easier. And if you ever want to swap, you'll have that option. Another thing that's really helpful, if you go back into the keyboard shortcuts menu, all the way on the bottom you have a button that says show shortcut list in browser. You can click on that and it'll open up a browser window with the entire list of all the shortcuts that are currently available and assigned within your ArchiCAD software. So you can scroll down, heaps and heaps of things and commands and tools that are currently assigned. Really, really helpful. Of course, there's no point in memorizing, but what does make sense is just briefly go through them, have a look at some of the commands. You might actually, even as an experienced ArchiCAD user, you might actually find a few helpful tools that you didn't know that existed, just based on these shortcuts, and that can be really, really helpful. And then if you go further down in that list, there's also the non-customizable shortcuts. These are things like navigation, moving around, things that are a bit more, I don't know, software crucial, not within tools, but within how you're using tools. Of course, deleting elements, it will be set to delete all the time. Doesn't make sense customizing that. Yeah, so really, really helpful list. Maybe print it out like as a digital printout, keep it on your desktop, and you can have a look at it once in a while again. Really helpful. So yeah, that's the shortcut tools. You can just go out here again, cancel, and hopefully the more you use the software, the more you get accustomed to all these shortcuts, and I'm pretty sure within no time it will become second nature for you to use these shortcuts all the time. Yeah. Let me know if you have any specific questions. Again, have a look at work environments, browse these menus a little bit just to see what's possible, and as you go along, you can customize these things if you need to. Perfect. See you soon.